And let me tell you, this week I'm going to make half as much money as I did last week on eBay. Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth cabin. You know something? I had a video topic for today that I really think is interesting and I can't wait to talk about, but I've decided to change the topic entirely because the events of the last few days, plus some of the things that have been going on in my life. I'm going to talk about that. I think these are the kind of things that hold a lot of folks back. It certainly has held me back, kept my eBay sales down as well. And I'm thinking about making a few changes. And I want to get into those details because I think there's a lot of people in the same boat as I'm in right now. As many of you know, I love quotes, and there's one quote that well, it's not exactly a quote that I love, but it's one that I think about often. Necessity is the mother of invention. And right now, I'm having some necessity problems here, meaning my sales are down on eBay. And I know why they're down. I'm going to go into a little bit. I'm also a creature of habit. This is a sweet Donald Duck bag, by the way. And this is one of those that you just... you know, you can't necessarily find the right comp for. I don't think there's any sold comps of this one, or there was, but it was very low. And so you start looking, instead of Donald Duck, you look for the similar type bags with different characters to find comps that work. And so we up-priced this one way over the Donald Duck comp because there was none out there listed at the time, because the other comps for other characters were way higher and the sold comps were. And it paid off. This one sold for $52.95. Plus shipping. Pretty nice day outside, so I was going to leave the door open, but the wind's blowing a little bit, so I might have to shut it. I'm going to jump right into the topic here and then pull items throughout. So my eBay sales are down. And they're down because, well, let me start with this. I'm a creature of habit. And that's how I operate. It served me really, really well. I have these habits that are just routine, where I don't have to schedule things and do things. I just have like blocks. It's just the way it works in my mind. It's how I set up these videos most of the time, actually. And so I wake up in the morning. I've talked about my routine before. People always ask me, how many items do you list in a day? And it just varies so much. So I'm going to go into my routine a little bit and then talk about some changes I'm going to make to the routine, certainly for this season, literally the summer season, because there's so much going on. And I've had so much more going on lately that I haven't been able to list as much as I typically do. And there's been a lot of circumstances lately, like we went on a vacation. I decided on that vacation I was going to list one item a day, right? And the store was on vacation mode and it came back. The sales were great then. And then they slowed down from the week we're on vacation to the week that it wasn't on vacation. It's because I wasn't getting those listings up. And so a lot of older things have been selling, some lower dollar stuff. And we're still listing every day, don't get me wrong, but it's going to have to change a little bit because of everything that's been going on. This is a Rescuer's ornament. We've sold quite a few of these. We're down to the last few, so we put it on 30% discount. This one sold for just under $14, I think. And when I tell you about the things that I'm doing here, it doesn't necessarily mean it applies to you. As a matter of fact, I want your feedback on this. I want to know your routines and relative to how much you sell, if you're a full-time worker or not, doing something outside the house. Doing something else other than reselling, for instance. You know, I tell people all the time I am not a full-time reseller, and I really, truly am not a full-time reseller. You know, I resell, and most of my businesses revolve around reselling, but this right here, what I do, buying and selling on eBay or maybe Mercari or wherever, you know, static selling, that's what I love to do, but I don't spend more than about 20 hours a week doing it, and I want to keep it at that. Lately, it's been a little less. The sales have been down. When I started... well, I've had all kinds of different routines. I've had, you know, list 10 things a day routine. I did that for years, actually, because that's about what money I needed to do to make sure all the bills were met and all those things. And then it changed drastically on that date right there when I decided to quit my job as a teacher. Speaking of, necessity is the mother of invention. So at that point, I changed how I listed. Instead of doing a number amount, I did an amount that I needed to make every single day. And that really served me well because we had social media income coming in at that time back in 2001, but it was certainly not anything we could live off of, you know, full-time income by any stretch. So I started to list $400 worth of things a day. And we're over a 50% margin most of the time. So I figured if I listed $400 worth a day, some of those things may not sell, even though most everything we list eventually sells. Very, very small percentage of it doesn't. And then some of those you might take offers on and things like that. So I figured at $400 a day, we'd make close to $200 net profit a day over the long haul, and that would be enough combined with some of the other money coming in. We'd have more than enough to live on. So that was a strategy for a while. That shifted a while back as well. So I am a big believer in being disciplined, but not dogmatic in a way that you just won't change. And so when your life circumstances change a little bit, it's always good to be self-reflective and make decisions based on your current circumstances. I think a lot of us have current circumstances that change here. I'm so glad this sold out of the Texas bin. This is the bin that nothing ever sells out of, but we sold a couple things lately. This is a Peppa Pig house. This was, even though eBay sales are slow, it's a Mercari sale. Got out list perfectly. Link below, 30% off. And this little Peppa Pig house didn't sell for too much, $18.95 plus shipping, but it also doesn't have any fees on it, so that's really cool. And I want to say somebody I can't remember. It took me a couple days to realize I had the sale over there. But it might have been a viewer. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, this has got the figures and stuff in it. I don't want to open it, but there you go. Well, I opened the door. It's a nice little Mercari sale for $18.95 plus shipping. So I'm going to talk about my most current routine that I am going to change. Matter of fact, I did it today for the first time. And it really stems from the fact that sales were slow. And you know, that's not necessarily a terrible thing. It is summer slowdown and all those things. You know, July 4th, the holidays, we were on vacation. There's all kinds of circumstances. But the one I was most concerned about was the fact that my listings had dropped. And I have talked extensively about different things we're doing around here so that that doesn't happen. And it still occurred because it's a busy time of year. So I'm making some changes. And so I'm going to get into my routine. And this isn't to say, hey, this is the routine you should have. It's just to give context to what I want to talk about today, which is a good strategy that fits you. And I'll give different kinds of examples. So for me, there's certain things I've done for years. Every single day I wake up, I get out of bed. There's personal things that I'm not going to get into because you don't care about, but I've done since I was a kid. And I continue to do those. But basically when that stuff's over and I get my cup of coffee, actually I get my cup of coffee pretty early, then I start my rest of the day routine. And I write lists. I'm just a list guy. I'm paper and pencil, write a list. I have a to-do list every single day. And I write that to-do list because I got to keep track because there's so many different facets of things that are going on. And right after I'm done writing that to-do list, I immediately sit down with that cup of coffee, either underneath my tree for a little bit or up on the deck right here. And I get 3 to 5 listings in. I do that every single day. So that's like the minimum. And sometimes my wife helps out and she'll list 2 or 3 things in a day. Sometimes she doesn't list anything. She didn't list anything the last 2 days. The day before that, she listed 5. Those kind of things. I don't tell my wife, hey, you got to do this every day, because she doesn't tell me. Well, yeah, she does tell me what to do every day. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm kidding, sort of. So I do that. And then I know that later in the day, there'll be times. I'm very good at, hey, I got 5 minutes here real quick, whether it's, you know, sitting and waiting to pick up my daughter at gymnastics or something, or when it was baseball season. And this is when I was really killing it. Watching Turner at baseball practice, I would be listing like a fool, right? I was very habitual about it. When I got in those circumstances, I would list. And I've always carved out time to sit underneath that tree and kind of decompress. I haven't had time to do that lately. I'm going to get into some of those things that keep me from it. That darn cat is sitting in my chair again. Last time I went out there, Pepper was in that chair. Now it's Boots sitting in the chair. At any rate, that's a side note. As many of you know, I'm not a huge fan of listing LPs and selling LPs, but I do like money, so I'll still do it from time to time. This one I thought was interesting. I bought it forever ago. Finally got through the death pile. This is Sinatra at the Sands. When we were in Vegas, we stayed at the Sands. That was a good time. And that's Count Basie right there. Check it out. And that one right there was a pretty darn good double album. And so we listed it. It sold for $24.95 plus shipping. So I'm going to get back to what my new strategy and my new plan is that I started implementing today. And maybe it's something that can help some of you folks out there. But before I do, I'll continue the context a little bit. There's been so much going on. Personal stuff, family stuff, you know, extra family stuff, you know, the larger family, all the uncles and all the other stuff going on. There's been so much going on. There's so much going on with my other businesses. And I talk about them. I don't want to bore you to death, but you know, I do all kinds of stuff on social media. We've got, well, shoot, I could make the whole list. We've got so much. Plus, there's other things that don't typically happen. Like, for instance, one of the things is sponsorships for different videos, and I have tons of people. I just deny most of it because I just don't have the time, to be honest with you. I don't want to bore y'all with half of it anyways in the videos. But there's been 3 lately that really made a whole ton of sense. Not just for me. That's kind of my litmus test, right? It has to make sense for the company, for me, and it has to make sense for the audience as well, because I don't want to spam y'all with a bunch of ads and stuff. And there's 3 that made really, really good sense. And there's partnerships that I have that I feel obligations to, and that's a big part of it too. If you've watched this channel long enough, you know I'm a people pleaser. If somebody is disappointed in me for not fulfilling something, I take it really, really hard. I don't get burnout like typical people do. I don't get the burnout from listing and doing all the stuff that surrounds reselling because I love it so much. What does give me burnout, though, is folks that I've made agreements with or partnerships with that depend on me, and I can't quite provide what they need. There's little things like that, and I might get into detail about, well, I'll get into one detail, for instance. So, of course, I've been doing dibdit.com. And when you do that, that's a partnership, not just with me, Dave, and Carrie, but with all the people who have invested time listing things over there, scheduling lives. And so when them lives, because it's been picking up over there, and when those lives come on, I want to support those people, right? Their very first live or something. I'll go on and I'll buy something. I'll give them tips. I'll do whatever. And that stuff takes time out of my day. That's one example, but I could give you 7. You know, we've got all these sourcing trips that go on, and I like to partner with people to take some of the load off of me, and I do that often. I'll mention some of those folks here in a minute. So I found that all of those things combined with the family things and the summer things that are going on, all that stuff has taken me away, and I haven't been able to get past those 3 to 5 listings in the last couple of weeks, which is just not the way you need to do things if you're planning on making money. So here's a Rainbow Bright doll. It's a more modern one, but I love Rainbow Bright stuff, and somebody else did as well. It's sold for $17.95 plus shipping. So you might also know that I like to build things. I've always been that kind of person. I've always been, even in my classroom, it was like a collaborative effort. It was individual but collaborative. Same thing as baseball, for instance. It's an individual game played by a team, and we foster that team kind of concept, but it is, you know, you're standing at the plate by yourself, and that's the way I feel with eBay, right? This is my gig. I've built this for 20 some years, and it's disappointing to me when I have a bad week or a downturn, and it's gonna happen. It's not like you can continually build, but it just really has been wearing on me that I haven't been able to, after the last month where I was really able to do this. I haven't been able to do this, and I'm adding on a couple of different things that I'm excited about, things that I'm going to announce here pretty quick. But those things in preparation for them have really taken a bunch of time. Even the travel that we're doing, these sourcing trips and stuff, and that trailer and all this stuff. You know, Mike, Death Pile Picker, there's one person I'll mention. He helps me with kind of the logistics for a lot of that stuff. And he's been busy dealing with some personal stuff. Hope you're doing well, Mike. And so I've done a little bit more of that than I typically do. And there's different things, you know, and different commitments that we make to different companies and my Reseller Genie stuff. Hey, that reminds me, I need to give away. Who won this thing? We were supposed to do this on the last video, and I forgot. So Donna Beck, 5058, won the 1 month free to my Reseller Genie. Send me an email. Actually, send Jess an email, jess.commonwealthpicker@gmail.com, and we'll send that 1 month free out to you. Code Commonwealth if you're interested in my Reseller Genie. It is amazing. See, there's an example right there. I said, hey, send it to jess.commonwealthpicker@gmail.com for 2 reasons. One, I don't want to disappoint Donna because my email is just chocked full of stuff. It's insane. I spend probably half an hour just deleting stuff in emails. So send that to her, and she can help me out with that. And that's part of it, right? I like to build things and then partner with people. Jess and Bubba's girlfriend, or Bubba's fiance, they've partnered with me essentially in the live sales. They handle all the live sales except for the promotion, which is what I do. And so now I'm going to add another side business to this, and all this takes, even if you manage it perfectly, I can just imagine some of you folks out there who you know, you've got families, you've got other commitments, all kinds of different things that are outside of your job. Plus you have your job. And then you have what you love. And I think most of us just love reselling because you have complete control over it. It's your baby. You're making the money off it. It's the freedom that it gives you and all the extra income and all that stuff. And that's what I want to preserve. And lately I haven't been able to, and I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to get into those changes I promised right now after I pull the next item. And then we'll get into some of the ancillary stuff. Here's an interesting sale. I like to do this. Haven't had much opportunity lately. I was at a sale. They're at the 301. Let's see if it... No, it's not that one. It's going to be this one. And I saw a bunch of American Eagle t-shirts for $1 a piece. And I would not pick up one. I would probably not pick up 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but I saw a ton of them. And I decided at $1 a piece, I might even negotiate a better deal. I'm not quite sure. I'd pick them all up because they're the same size. I'm like, you know, I can make some money off of this. So there's 12 in this one. I don't know how many in that one at $1 a piece. It might have been less, but let's say $1 a piece, $12. It sold for just under $36 plus shipping, so it's not a massive profit. But you know what? It sold really quick, and it was an easy listing instead of doing one-offs. You know, what do I make on that thing? I'll make about 20 bucks or so, maybe just a shade under for those shirts. So I'll take that sale. It's not something I typically do, but it just made sense that day right there. So I've been thinking about this for days, and I was originally thinking, you know, instead of 3 to 5 in the morning, because I just can't carve out time the rest of the day lately to get an extra 5 or 10 or 20 listings in. Some days I'll sit out there in that chair for an hour if I have it, just list forever, you know, and it's no big deal. I have 2 phones. I'll put a podcast on or something, or listen to music, and I'll list. There's been 0 time for that. I crave sitting under there and doing that because I love it. I don't hate listing. I don't hate any of this stuff. I like it. I'm not a big fan of cleaning, but you get the point, right? I like to resell. That was my initial thought. I was actually listening to a podcast, and while I was doing some other work for one of my other little businesses on the side, I was listening to Reseller Island. That was Jay Ride and Sonny. And he said something. I thought, I could implement that. And he said something like he just carved out 90 minutes, not a total of listings, not a dollar amount, just 90 minutes, turn off everything, turn off the alerts, all of it, and just list for 90 minutes without the requirement of so many listings or whatever. I thought, man, that's pretty cool. I don't know if I could carve out 90 minutes, but you know what? In that time where I list 3 to 5 in the morning and start to get distracted and the kids are waking up and breakfast and all that, so I just want to wake up a little bit earlier, 15, 20 minutes earlier. I'm going to carve out 60 minutes. So I'm going to do 60 minutes of listing every single morning before I do anything. Because a lot of times the things that have to get done, they have to get done. I'm going to use that to my advantage. So instead of doing the things that have to get done first thing in the morning, I'm going to do that first. And then the rest of the stuff still has to get done, and so you do it, right? It's the kind of philosophy as a teacher, I think, with my kids, you know, you assign something and whatever, you give them 3 days to do it. Well, they're going to do it the night before, right? They're not going to do it the day you assign the thing. Some kids are, but those are the weird kids, right? And the good students, don't get me wrong. I know some of you are like that. That wasn't me. I would wait until I had to get something done most of the time, unless it was something I enjoyed. So I figured, you know what? This is something I enjoy. I'm going to do 60 minutes of listings, and then I'm not even going to write my to-do list first. I'm going to do my 60 minutes of listing first thing in the morning, and everything else that has to get done will still get done. I think this is going to improve my sales pretty quickly. Here's an example of what I'm talking about, right? This is Dibbed It, right? I'm doing these deals of the day over there because I want to support the sellers who are over there. I want to pass on some deals to the viewers that might be interested in certain items. So there's a level of commitment, but to list something over there and not do it on eBay or something, there's really no extra time. And that's what I did with these. These actually sell for probably closer to $25. But I listed them over there for $15.95. Plus you can use code Commonwealth and get $5 off if you've never ordered anything over there before. And Mimi ordered them, our friend Mimi. Mimi, thank you. I know you're good buddies with Blue Ridge Mama. You corrupt her everywhere we go, but I'll forgive you, because you bought some Garfield slippers. So she picked those up over on dibbedit.com, $15.95 plus shipping. And of course I paid lower fees over there, so I can put things a little discount. I might not make as much, but I don't have to pay as much in fees. So we're going to do another deal of the day. I'm not done with this topic, but let me show it to you while it's on my mind. Here's the deal of the day that should be over there now. And she picked those up really quick, so thanks to all the folks who went over there. I love these cut and sew Care Bears. I've only bought them one other time before the Escape from the Interstate sale. Last year, maybe? No, this was the Hillsville sale? I can't remember which one. I think it was Escape from the Interstate. But I picked all of these up the other day, and I'm like, these are so awesome. Most of them have the little thing. These are the cut and sew, like little pillow plushes, and you don't see them very much. there's not very many listed on eBay. And so I'm going to check out the comps, and then I'm going to list these over there for probably 25% off of the comps, plus you can use that code. So those will be on dibdit.com. And if you're interested in those, there is a bunch of them for sure. That might even be like all of the cut and sews. I don't know how many they had. Bedtime Bear, Birthday Bear, Love a Lot, Good Luck Bear, Tender Heart, all that stuff. Dibdit.com. So there's a good example, right? That's been picking up over there, and I really want to support it and support the people over there, because you go over there and list and, you know, whatever. I don't ask people to go over there and list 50 things. I go over there and ask people to list if they're going to be a seller, and we've approved you. It's a pop culture website. You know, go over there and list a few things that you don't mind keeping, right? The things that's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to sell it. They're cool, though. And they go over there and list them, because the static sales are fairly slow at this point, although those have slowly been creeping up as well. It's the live selling that has really taken off over there. But there have been some static sales of late, some fairly big ones. I think ABC Map made a nice little sale the other day, and some other folks. So I've been pushing that, and I've been paying attention to it. I've been talking to the district people about improvements, and we've been growing more than we've ever grown before, which is awesome, but it takes time. And it's taking time away that I would be using for that. And the same thing with these trips, right? You know, I talked about Mike Death Pile Picker. You know, he would do some stuff in the past, and he still does. But lately, you know, I've invited folks to come and join us and whatever, and I've been communicating with them. All that stuff takes away time, maybe an hour, 2 hours a day, just to do those little things. And then I've added some stuff on top of it. Of course, you know, we have the Trash to Cash podcast, which is a commitment I'm on, and a Trash to Cash Facebook group, which we've partnered with New Jersey Picker. Shout out my friend for really helping that grow. It's really close to 50,000. Might actually be there already. That Facebook group is growing. Close Garage Sale Nation, and Richard from Otnib Drop Flips, he helps me over there with that. So thank you, and a big shout out to you. So all these little partnerships, but I still am tied to them, and my name is still on them, and I feel a commitment to them. So this is why the change is happening. And I'm very interested in learning about your routines. I know there's a lot of teachers who watch this show out there, and you're off during the summer, and you have more time than you typically would. But let me tell you, when I was teaching, I would carve out time. Like I said, I was very habitual. I would wake up, I'd still list my 3 things in the morning at like 5 o'clock before I went to school. And then I'd have routines at school where I'd list items as well. So you teachers out there have a totally different summer than you have the rest of the year. Might even increase your sales. I'm interested to see those folks out there where the season of summer makes it difficult on them to list. Like kids. You got kids and all of a sudden they're home, right? That makes it more difficult too. So I sold another bag. And this bag, it's a Timbuktu bag. Can't even remember where I got it at this point. But I might have got this from my Joey Pinjo. I made a buy off of him not too long ago. And that bag right there, it wasn't a huge money maker, but $20.50, I think, something like that after an offer plus shipping. You know, I've really tried to streamline my systems for reselling, like that other cabin out there, and the incoming and the listing and the drafting and all that stuff, even the shipping, like the Commonwealth Picker shipping table years ago. And that stuff's really worked to save me time. Just want to thank, who am I thanking here? I am thanking Lisa for buying from Tennessee, for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table or at CommonwealthPicker.com. It truly is about prioritizing your day so that you can prioritize those things in your life that you want to do. You know, time spent with family and businesses and all kinds of stuff. That's not the right one. Let's see if this is the right one. Yep, that's the right one. Pennsylvania. This came from that buy. We just bought a bunch of train stuff. Already in the profit on it. It was a crazy good sale. Speaking of prioritizing your life, I was going down to take Turner to a baseball game. This one sold for $16.95 plus shipping. And strangely enough, that was, you know, when Turner got less busy with baseball, because I would take him to baseball. That was my job, right? My wife always takes Reagan to gymnastics. She babysits twice a week now. That's been a big part of it too. She's not here to help me do some of the stuff that she typically does because she's away 2 days out of the week, which doesn't seem like much. But when I'm used to one, that's a lot of stuff that, like, for instance, today I got a meeting here in about 40 minutes. Then I got 2 phone calls I got to do. And I'm supposed to shuck the corn for tonight. So I got to do that and prep a meal. My folks are coming over. Her folks are coming over. And so those are things that she would take care of if she was here today. But she's not. She's babysitting kids. So those circumstances really change things, and you need to, I do anyways, you need to change your structure to prioritize things. And for me, eBay's a priority. It's a moneymaker, but of course, all of my social media revolves around eBay and reselling and picking and all that stuff too. So it's more than just a priority to get the income coming in. And let me tell you, this week, I'm going to make half as much money as I did last week on eBay, which, you know, isn't the end of the world for us because we got all this stuff going on. But that's not where I want to be, so I'm making these changes. Let me know if you've made any changes lately. And, or I should say, tell me what your listing strategy is. Is it so many items a day? Is it a dollar amount, which I think is probably better, depending on what your needs are and how you can source? Or is it something else? Is it dedicated time to do it? And that's what I'm going to do. If I dedicated the time later in the day, it wouldn't work. For me anyways, but it might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. All right, y'all, I don't know if you know this or not, but Reagan has broke her leg. Unfortunately. Well, it's not her leg. What is it, Turner? It's like her ankle. Yeah, she's got a fracture down there. So she's not here today. She's been gone. She's at gym every day for different reasons and whatever. Long story short, Turner's filling in because Turner's leaving for a few days with a buddy. But so he's thanking folks who bought some stuff out of Commonwealth Picker.com store and the Commonwealth Picker, what do we call these? The Junkyard Flipper right here, the Q3 Enema Man sticker. Who do you got to thank, buddy?
Paul, Ozark.
Treasure Hunters.
Paul, Ozark, Treasure Hunters, and Craig.
And Craig. Thank y'all very, very much. We recognize all of you guys. Thank you for your support. As always, your sticker is on its way. They are slowly dwindling down here. We'll see how long it takes. So thank you. Do you remember Reagan's line?
Don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
This next item is an example. I think, let me just look real quick. $69.95 plus shipping for these shoes. I love selling shoes. These are kids' shoes, for goodness sake. I paid 20 bucks for them. I didn't want to. I tried to haggle it down, but it wasn't going to happen. And I wasn't going to leave them there if I could get that much for them. I think I might have taken an offer. It might have been 60 bucks on these. But this right here, well, let me show you. I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit today. It's not ready. This is what my meeting is about at 2:30 here. So I've got 1, 2 shoe bins, 3 shoe bins, 4 shoe bins, 5 shoe bins. This is the item that's sold here. And all of these, I dug it out earlier. And I'm not a good shoe seller. Obviously, look at all the shoes I still got, and I try not to pick them up. It's taking up a lot of space and a lot of time. I'm not really good at it, and I don't want to be that good at it. I probably should, but I'm a little lazy, right? So I picked these up because they were perfect. And these sold, I think, for 60 plus shipping. So when I say stuff like that, I'm not a good shoe seller, and I don't want to sell shoes. I don't want to clean them. I don't want to take the right pictures and do all this stuff because shoes are competitive, but they're also good sellers. So every time I say that, somebody says, oh, I'll just buy all your shoes off you. I'm like, that might, man, think of all the space, and I could focus on the things I am better at, the things that I like to do. So I started going down a road with this, like, how could I make this easy and not take up more time? Because like private transactions, all that stuff takes forever. And so I went down this road and I started to develop something that I could use to do that. And then I realized, if I'm not the only one like this that picks up stuff that they don't love, they'd rather sell it off in bulk. And I thought, maybe I should do something about this. And I started down that road, and now it's led to, I'm like, this is going to be much bigger than I thought. And it's taken a whole bunch of time because my reputation's on the line and my name and everything, and I want to make sure it's right. And that has led to a slowdown. What was initially supposed to be a speed up for my eBay business. More space, more time, more things that I love that'll help my sales, and eliminating not all of the shoes, but a lot of them. So that's an example. You'll hear about it a little bit down the road. You know, Funko Pops aren't supposed to sell, right? Well, and they really don't. Where's the other one? See, I can't even find the one I'm looking for. There's a gnome I'm looking for. I already sold one. I thought I had 2. There it is. I thought I had 2, and I do have 2. Let me move a few things right here. And this is, like I said, a good example of how I'm just trying to slowly adjust. Like, I used to buy Funko Pops, just if there was a giant table of them, I'd make an offer on everything, sell a bunch live, pick out a few winners. But I went through, this guy had a table full of them. He was pulling them out of his house. And you've seen me sell some of them. And I, instead of just making a blanket offer, I pulled out a bunch that I liked. I thought, you know, these are good ones for a live show, like Pillsbury Doughboy or something. And we sold a few of those over there that are just cool. And things that I enjoy, right? And then I also pulled ones that actually do sell, you know, and I paid cheaper because I got a big bundle deal, and it doesn't sell for a lot, but I took the time to do that at the sale instead of buying everything. $18.95 plus shipping for that gnome right there. And that's what this is, just constantly trying to make adjustments to balance the life, the enjoyment of reselling, and maximize profits while keeping all things in consideration. Sold another pennant. I've done okay on pennants. They're not my favorite thing to sell because, you know, you gotta like really be gentle with them as far as how you package them. You can't just fold them up. But this one was already folded up by somebody else. It's got a few creases in it, but it did have that on it. So I'm like, yeah, we'll buy it. What the heck? And this one sold pretty good. This one sold for 20 bucks plus shipping. I do a light roll on them, not a heavy roll, but just a light kind of a roll. And I put them in a box. That's how I ship them right there. Let me know if you do something different. This one sold for $19.95 plus shipping. And I noticed that was a repeat buyer. So I'm going to thank Dave. I appreciate you. I assume you're a viewer. So Dave, I appreciate you very much. I didn't have any messages on any of these, so no definite 100% purchases from viewers. But more than likely there's one. Well, this one is almost certainly repeat buyers or almost certainly viewers. But not all the time. Some of y'all get repeat buyers. And I don't see anything else that's necessarily one, except for maybe that Mercari sale as well. All right, time for the meeting. A couple of phone calls and got a shuck of that corn. And make sure I got enough propane to cook the chicken tonight. But I wanted to mention a couple things really quick. But before I do, definitely put your comments below. Your life circumstances changing. Do you adapt to it immediately, or does it take you a while to figure out, I got to do something a little different? And what is the thing you're doing different? Here's my little list of things that I got to mention. Dibbed It t-shirt auction July 9th. We're going to have the iron-on transfers and a ton of graphic t-shirts. Come and join us over there. And we're doing a giveaway auction. This will be an interesting one. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but... Oh, and a coin auction on July 24th from that sale you saw on the Commonwealth Picker channel with a bunch of those silver nickels. They call them Silver War nickels, right? 42 to 45. And what else? But the giveaway auction is July 17th at this point, unless we change it, unless the girls change it on me. And that one, we're going to get everything we auction off is going to also receive a freebie. So you buy something, you'll get something for free. You won't know what it is. It should be a really fun one. I've got a lot of great giveaways to give away in that show. Come and join us over there. And of course, that's on dibbedit.com on the District app. If you have an Apple device, you can do it over there. If you don't, you can do it on a browser. But Android is right around the corner right here, which is really cool. And so we've had a lot of good times over there. And I just want to give back a little bit and do some giveaways as well. So anyway, thank y'all for joining us as always. And I can't wait to see you next time.